Comparison is killing you. Yes. Do you find yourself scrolling on social media, looking at other people's profiles, or you close the apps feeling a certain type of way? And it's not always social media. Sometimes it's interacting with people. You talk to someone and now you're feeling some type of way. Today, I want to talk about comparison and how comparison is hurting you. I wrote this somewhere. I don't remember the source, but I thought it was really interesting. So it says, comparison is stepping on a scale, hoping someone's weight shows up. Many utterly amazing people don't feel good enough simply because another person has something that they don't. Life is a leveler. Whatever you have, someone else needs. Whatever you lack, someone else has. Who you are is good enough for the assignments on you. I think I know who. I don't remember where I wrote it from. I really need to start referencing when I write down things in my notes. But I just thought this would be really, really good way to talk about comparison because at the end of the day, comparison is an emotion. I am not a therapist, I'm not a professional in this. I did take a break and it gave me a lot of time to really research on a couple of topics that are interesting to me and to just talk about a few things that either I struggle with or I just want to learn more about. And one of those things is comparison. And I think it's something that almost everyone can relate to now. I feel like everyone has felt comparison at some point. If you haven't, let me know. But most people I know have felt comparison. I don't know about this mic. It should be closer here because I really want my audio to be good. That's why I didn't pin it on. I hope it looks good. Okay. What was I saying? I was saying that everyone has felt comparison at some point, but it seems to be aggravated with things like social media or just how the world is going right now. Reality shows, we have Love is Blind. I don't know if you're a fan of Love is Blind. That's something I've been watching. It just seems to be aggravated by a couple of things now. Also, as we grow older, we start to see our mates, start to see our peers, and for some reason, we start to compare ourselves to them. And it's a really negative emotion that can poison your mind and really distract you from the things that you want to do or that you ought to do. I read a book by Nona Jones. I'll write down her name. It was called Killing Comparison, and it was a really good book. I found out about her. I don't think it matters how I found out about her. She's a woman of faith and she's also like a tech professional. She used to work with Facebook and now with the Bible app. So she's in the corporate world, has worked in tech companies, and I liked reading from people that really that their life experiences intersect with mine. So people of faith, people that work in a professional setting, people that work in tech. Of course, I do learn from other people, but it's always good to find people in your context because when they share stories, you can easily apply them or you can relate to some of them. So I read the book and she was just talking about how she struggled with comparison, what the roots of comparison was, and how one thing that she mentioned, which I thought was we should, I just thought was interesting, is that social media is not the cause of comparison. Social media brings out the comparison. The cause of comparison is usually something deeper within us. So possibly some childhood wounds. There are a lot of things that could cause comparison, but social media is a symptom. You being jealous of someone on social media makes you see that, oh, you have the spirit of comparison within you, or there's something you need to deal with in there. I thought that was interesting because people say, oh, social media causes comparison, so leave social media. Yes, you should leave some things that trigger you, and if social media triggers you into comparison, then you probably should take a break from it for a while. But it's also interesting to know that you might even be on a break from social media and you still have comparison within you, or you still haven't dealt with the cause of that comparison. So you're still carrying toxic emotions and carrying wounds around, but because you don't show the symptoms, you're not comparing yourself to anyone on social media, you think you're fine. So I think it was just something worth looking into. I didn't take a lot of notes. I have took notes from her book, but I don't have the notes here from what I prepared because I really want this to be, I don't want to keep rambling about what it is comparison is. I wanted this to be more action oriented so that if you find yourself dealing with comparison, you actually have tools to help you deal with it. Definitely, if it's a bigger issue, you need to investigate what the bigger issue is. Do you have childhood trauma? Do you have daddy issues? All those things, I'm not equipped to talk about them, but comparison as itself, as a concept by itself, I just want to talk about some things that are very actionable that you can start to implement right now if you find yourself feeling comparison, you find yourself comparing yourself to another person. So now let's go back to what I was saying. Who you are is good enough for the assignment you have been put on earth for. I strongly believe everyone is on earth for a reason. You were created for something. You may or may not know what that thing is, but there's a reason why you're here. Nobody is just here to waste space. And I've had a lot of conversations about it with some friends about why we're here. But I really believe people are here for a reason. And the reason why you're here, you have everything or you can get everything you need to fulfill that assignment that you have been brought on earth for. So that's the first thing I want to just set context with. Now, the thing with comparison and why it's such a negative thing is that it tends to slow us down. Because here you are, you're working on something, or you're just feeling very good about yourself. Now you see something, because it's usually triggered by our portals, what you see, what you hear, also sometimes even what you think, what you remember, because you've seen an image or you heard something, and like you're fine with walking, right? Then you see someone with a car, or you see a friend with. So this is something I find interesting about comparison. So let's say you're you're just a regular person, and then, oh, you're like me, you live in Berlin and you're walking to the train station. Every day you see cars going to and fro, right? You're crossing the road, you see people with very big vehicles. You don't compare yourself to them. It's when you see your friend driving a vehicle that you then compare yourself, and you're like, oh, why? Yeah, you start to feel negative emotions for not having that. That's just a very vague example. It's not like sometimes you see if a friend has something and that motivates you to get the same thing. That's different. But when you're comparing yourself and really feeling bad that you don't have that thing, and I find that we mostly feel that negative emotion when it's connected to someone that we know, or someone that we think we should be on the same level with, or we should have the same things. Yeah, which I found is very interesting, because it's not like other people don't have that same car your friend is driving, or other people are not speaking on the world stage that your friend just got the opportunity to speak on, or someone, your former classmate or colleague. But because it's in your context, as in your circle, then that negative emotion comes, which I find very interesting. So back to my notes. The thing with comparison is that it really slows you down. It distracts you from the thing that you're supposed to do, because you can get so deep in that emotion of comparing yourself that you actually forget the things you have or what you're working on. Because especially if you're a driven person, and you start to compare yourself to the extent that you want to start to work on that thing that was making you compare yourself to the other person, if you get what I mean. Especially if you're a driven person, then it could actually distract you from the thing that actually is very important to the very toxic goal that you're trying to achieve. The thing is, when you compare yourself, or when you start to compare yourself to other people, it takes the focus off you. Somehow, the things you're doing don't seem as important, or the things you've achieved don't seem as important. And then the thing that's most important to you, you tend not to focus on it. My point is that comparison really distracts you from the things that truly matter to you, and then the things that don't really matter to you start to take center stage. They start to seem more significant than what your core or what your assignment is, or what the things that you set out as your goal is. And it's comparison, it does a lot of things. People have done very terrible, very horrible things because they've compared themselves to others, and that emotion has brought other negative emotions into their lives. Anyway, so now let's go to, I think I've spoken a lot about comparison. Now let's go to what you can do when you start to feel like, when you start to compare yourself to other people. What are the practical things you can do? I'm going to give 5 things that I think you can you can actually implement immediately. The first thing, which for me was the most profound thing, is when you start to find yourself comparing yourself to other people, ask why. So let me start with the story Nona gave in her book. She was talking about, she speaks at events, at Christian events. And one day during the pandemic, she was joining a meeting and she decided to check Instagram for 5 minutes. And she saw that almost everybody on her timeline, people that she follows, her friends, they were invited for an event and she wasn't invited to speak. And she started to harbor resentment as to why was everyone invited and I wasn't invited. That's what she kept on saying to herself. Is it that she's not good enough? That's the thing with comparison. You start to ask yourself these questions. Oh my God, is it that I'm not good enough? Or what do they have that I don't have? it just starts to breed all these things that make you feel bad. So she started to ask herself, why, like, what's it about me? Is it I don't speak really well? Basically, is it that I'm not good enough? And the first thing that she said, or the thing one of the biggest points I took from her book was, you need to ask why. Why you need to ask yourself why you are feeling this way, or why does this matter? Not why you're feeling this way. Sometimes you know why you're feeling this way, but why does this matter? Why does it matter that you were not called to speak at an event, or you're not speaking at that event? Why does it matter that you're not speaking on a TEDx stage? Why does it matter that you didn't? Why does this matter so much to do? And you should write it down. You should write out what that matters, why it matters to you that you didn't get to do the things, or you don't have this thing that you are um that you're comparing yourself to. So for example, your friend went viral and you have just 2 views on your video, and you're comparing yourself to the person. That what did the person do that I couldn't do, or I didn't do? So you should ask, why does it matter to me to have 1 million views on my video? What is the actual goal of this video? Is this goal to reach people, or is it to help change people's lives? So that's the part of why does it matter? Why does it matter for you to achieve that result? Most of the time, when you actually reflect and write down why it matters, you find that it might be for a good reason, but it's not to your goal. So yeah, maybe if you were invited for that event, you could have gotten paid more money. But why does it matter that you needed to speak at that event to get paid more money? Are there no other ways you can get paid more money? But yeah, you just need to write down why it matters. Find that when you write down why this matters, you get to the root of the issue. So number one, either the thing doesn't make sense to you anymore because it doesn't align with your goal, or you actually get to the root of the issue that, okay, you know what, maybe I actually have a desire to create a certain type of content, or maybe I have the desire to speak somewhere. Anyways, the point is asking why does it matter, and why it is that what you have is not enough. When you actually write down and ask yourself, why is it that what I have is not enough, and why it's not good enough, then it helps you to start the point of reflection. So that, which then leads me to my second point. Second point is, while you're reflecting, you need to then write down the things that you actually have, not in comparison to the other person, but just generally, what are the good things that have happened to you recently? What do you have? I find that when you start to focus on the positives, it takes the focus away from the negatives, if that helps. So you need, while you're reflecting, the first question you need to ask is, why is it important for me to do XYZ of that thing that you're comparing yourself to? Why is it important for me to speak at this event? That's the first question. And then the second question you need to answer is, what do I have that's good? When you start to reflect on your blessings and your testimonies, then it starts to redirect your focus back to what's important, which is what's the goals you've achieved, the happy moments you've had. Write down your blessings. So that's number two. When you write down your blessings, you also need to celebrate yourself. Why? Yes, I don't have X, but I have Y. Celebrate yourself. That also helps generate positive emotions to you. And when you start to generate these positive emotions, negative emotions tend to reduce. Now, this was also interesting, was to pray for the people that you. I thought this is a bit difficult, but it's possible. Pray for the people you're comparing yourself to. When you find that, I think this was also from Nona. I hope she's Nona because I keep calling her name Nona Jones and I haven't checked. If you find that you're praying for someone that you have compared yourself to, it's very hard for you to keep comparing yourself to them when you are taking them to God. So especially if you're a person of faith, pray for the person that you are comparing yourself to. And then the last thing you need to do is you need to also have affirmations and prayer points to help to free you from comparison. So if you have affirmations that say, okay, maybe this is my actual goal, this things down, and then say affirmations to yourself to help you really reflect and focus on what the future could bring. Also help you attract what it is that you actually want into your life without focusing on what the other person wants. So the thing with affirmation, it makes you focus on I am, or God can, God will, or in the future I will. Depending on how you choose to write the affirmations, it helps you focus on yourself. It helps you attract that blessing to yourself. So, which is one of the reasons affirmation is very important. And one Bible verse that I find can be an anchor for comparison is in Philippians 4, verse from Philippians chapter 4 from verse 6. It says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God." Usually, when you're comparing yourself to something, it's usually something that you want. You might not know why you want it, but it's usually something that you want. And really, if you want it, you should take it to God. That God, this is something I want or something I need, and I see that someone else has it. Why don't I have it? No. Anyways, that's the Bible verse, Philippians 4, verse 6. Be anxious for nothing. It helps just anchor yourself into being grateful for what you have and really looking into what you have and not comparing yourself to the other person. So I hope this is helpful for you. I don't know I created this video because these are just some of my personal notes that I wrote down, but I really believe this is for someone that's probably struggling with comparison or is starting to have negative feelings or resentment because other people are not where they are. I hope this video helps you to know that you're not alone. A lot of people feel this way, and there are tools that can help you not feel this way that you're feeling, or with comparing yourself to other people that you should actually be celebrating and praying for. So I hope this is helpful for you. Let me know in the comment section if there's something else you want me to talk about. And yeah, have a great rest of the day. Bye.